I've made the very weird observation that hypotheticals are very telling of whether somebody is obsessed by some form of ideology and fundamentalist thinking. My observation has so far been that when you ask people to even just imagine to be wrong, to even just imagine in what way they could be wrong in a given situation, to even just imagine what would happen if they were wrong, there is a very, very strong resistance coming to such hypotheticals from people who are ideologically possessed and fundamentalist in their thinking. The point which is interesting here is that you're actually not saying that they're wrong. You're not saying that they believe the wrong things about something. But all you're asking them to do is to themselves ask the question, what would be the case if I was wrong? Or does any sign exist that gives me the inclination to think that I might be wrong? Not that I am wrong, but that I might be wrong. Or even a little more provoking, what are the possible ways in which I could be catastrophically wrong? By which I mean, imagine if all your best intentions and all your beliefs that are holy to you and matter to you, at the end of the day, did not result in a world that you would want to embrace, but resulted in a world which is an absolute nightmare. One example, for when I first was acquainted with social media, like some 20 years ago, I only saw the positive aspects of social media. Now the reality is that what we today see as social media has become pretty much the worst nightmare of what social media can be. And I couldn't even imagine that back in the day. I couldn't even imagine social media taking this turn of dividing people so much and radicalizing people to such a degree. All I saw was self-expression, pluralism, people expressing their perspectives on different issues and learning from each other, mutual recognition, seeing each other, right? Growing, developing together. This is all I could see. I could not imagine the reality that we're facing today. Not even as a form of, utopia. And this is a very telling sign. If you can't even imagine yourself to be wrong, and hypotheticals threaten you, scare you, that's a very, very strong ding that something's not right here, and that you have a very, very linear narrative and you're clinging to your narrative above everything else. One of the basic rules of strategic thought is to just look at your perspective and consider that you might have very weak points, and to very consciously search them out and experiment with catastrophic scenarios which you would not want to become true in reality, given your assumptions. But you still have to go through this painful experience if you want to be prepared for what's coming. And I've also heard that, funnily enough, children can't think in hypotheticals up until a certain age. I've read this and I've heard it from Wilbur, I think, that hypotheticals are not what children start out with. Children start out with concrete beliefs about the world that are either true or false. And then when you ask them, well, but could you be wrong? Or how otherwise could you think of something? How otherwise could you conceptualize it? They don't understand the question. They don't understand what you're even asking them to do. They're confused by the concept of a world being different than it is. And of course, what they mean by world is their perspective on the world. They're confused by something being a different perspective. And that's so fascinating, because perspective on the one hand is something so close to us. It's something through which we experience the world. It's just so there. It's in everything. And yet we are confused by the idea that there might be a different perspective. This is so weird. It's like perspective is the closest thing that we have to ourselves. So we should be aware of it. And yet we're not. It's something that's weird to us to look at our perspective as one possible perspective among others. It's something that's on the physical level threatening. It's something that raises your pulse. I can clearly remember as a child when I had a fundamentalist phase that I got really literally nervous when I was pondering the idea of being wrong. Like I heard my heart pumping. It's like it's something that really scares you. And it's fascinating how thinking is here so closely related to experiencing. And it's like one, right? Your thoughts here are immediate reality. And you can't just leave your thoughts aside. It's like leaving your reality aside, stepping aside from your reality by just invoking a hypothetical. And this is very telling. I mean, philosophers are usually playing with hypotheticals because they have a basic, very fundamental value. And it's something that we've learned from Kant, to learn to imagine yourselves to be not yourself, right? But in everyday existence, I think they confuse the hell out of a lot of people. And they don't see the point of hypotheticals because they look at the facts. The reality that's out there, what's the point of hypotheticals? It's just thinking. It's not reality. You can't change reality by just thinking. But the reality of it is that hypotheticals change the way you perceive and change the way you can think about reality and can conceive of reality.